Yeah, quick heads up, if anyone has like relatives who are going through cancer or if you've lost somebody to cancer, don't watch this movie.
I'm
A lot of cancer talk in this one. Hello and welcome to Reshoot, an amateur's guide to gooder film. I don't know, it's fun. You do it.
ASMR
I want to
crew.
do it.
It's for the ASMR crew.
We're gonna lose a lot of followers with this.
Well, if you whisper like that, it's all like crunchy. You gotta like smooth whisper.
Stop that.
Like that. Stop it. Get help.
Hello, everyone. We're your hosts. I am Hector Carlo.
I am Ruthie Carlo.
Eduardo Soler.
Yes, we're here with our friend Eduardo today.
So, like I promised last week, wink, definitely not 3+ weeks late. How late are we?
I think we're fine right now. We're at the 2-week mark, technically.
No, I don't think we're at the 2-week mark.
After Tenet?
Are we?
No, we're 2 weeks.
We're 2 weeks late on recording at least. Yeah.
Also, first things first, we want to thank all our listeners. It's been really wild to see this growing.
All 170 listens that aren't us. It's mostly our moms.
Love you, moms.
Love you, Mom.
Emily.
Also, we got some people from other countries, so that's really cool. I'm really excited.
Ich bin ein Hamburger and Thüringen.
Hamburger or is it Hamburg?
Well, Hamburg is the city, and Hamburger is like a citizen of Hamburg.
Is it really?
Yes.
I thought that was okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, our German listeners. Please make fun of me. It's fine.
I told one of my friends, and they're like, I hope that's not a VPN. You know?
We watched Annihilation. Hector and I liked it.
Oh, this is probably one of the best movies I've watched for this podcast. It's honestly like
But Hector, Tenet was your favorite. Especially after our friends commented on their reactions to Tenet. That just made your opinion go.
I mean, everyone knows the best part. The movie peaked with the Michael Caine scene. Let's be real.
Oh, and don't forget the ending with the great big war thing that we all just loved.
I did like that one effect with the building.
Yeah, the effect was cool.
Ed is hugging his copy of Annihilation.
Yes.
I have a physical copy, 4K, of Annihilation, because it was one of my top 3 favorite movies of 2018. So that is my opinion on the movie.
How do you rate it on your like personal scale, like top 5, top 10?
Personal scale, no, not in the top 10, but definitely top 25 for sure.
Oh, that's good.
A through F. I'm curious. Fast forward, A through F. What's your vote? Grade it.
Oh, A through F. Fast forward.
Yeah.
Grade on that. A.
I almost want to give it an A+. I haven't seen a movie like this good, like this well done in a long time. This might be my highest rated movie in the podcast so
Weirdly
far.
enough,
Yeah.
I'm A minus.
Huh.
I liked this movie, but there was one comment that almost killed it for me. That took all my love for it. And like, what have you done?
I want
You
to
know
curiosity's
which
sake,
one
what
it is,
is it?
Hector.
What is it?
I'm going to edit this part out. Yeah, so that was my least favorite phrase. For the audience, I will be telling you later. I promise. Anyways, shall I try and synopsis this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the movie starts and we open with Natalie Portman sitting in a room surrounded by these scientists, in these radiation suits. And they start like asking her a bunch of questions. And it seems like she's really confused. They're like asking her all these questions and she keeps like responding like, I don't know. And eventually they start asking her about her crewmates. We hear about Radek. Radek's status is unknown. Shepard is dead. Thorensen is dead. And Ventress is unknown. With so many of these things unknown, the lead scientist, who's played by Benedict Wong, asks what she does know, and she starts going into the movie. The movie is like 90% flashback, like 95. We see a comet strike a lighthouse, and then it goes into this video, this black and white thing of a cell multiplying, and we hear Lena, Natalie Portman's character, starting a lecture as she's a professor at Johns Hopkins University, and she teaches like, it's kind of implied to be, they only ever call her a biologist, but she's like a microbiologist or an oncologist, specifically.
It seems that she specializes in cancer with something.
After her lecture and she leaves, she's going to whatever, her coworker meets up with her and he starts like trying to neg her into going to the barbecue. And he's like, it's not a betrayal to your husband if you go to his party. And she tells him, no, she's just going to paint the bedroom. So she gets to painting and a mystery guy appears in the living room and heads up the stairs. Lena turns around. Surprise, surprise, this husband we just found out was dead was not dead. And she goes to embrace him and kisses him. She's really excited to see him. And he's weird. He doesn't show any emotion or familiarity. Cuts to the kitchen where she's interrogating him. And she gets the same treatment that she pulls out later where she's asking him all these questions. And it's like, I don't know, can't tell you, no clue. And she's getting really frustrated. But the only question he is able to answer, how did you get here? He said, he was outside the room. And then he went up the stairs and he saw a familiar face, meaning her. And he takes a sip of the water. He sets the water down and he says, I don't feel so good. There's blood in the water. He starts having a seizure and Lena calls the ambulance, as you do. And the ambulance comes by and they take Kane and Lena to the hospital, as you do. And then the ambulance is pulled over by a bunch of unmarked black vans and helicopters. And Lena is then chloroformed, as you do.
She gets injected with a sedative, not chloroform.
Lena wakes up in like a prison setting. It's like a glass cell with prison clothes, like the orange jumpsuit. So she wakes up in this glass cell and she's interrogated and assessed by this Dr. Ventress. And Lena is then asks to see her husband and she's informed that he has multiple organ failure and is bleeding internally. Ventress takes her outside and she shows Lena the shimmer. It's like a bubbly colored dome. Everything that's gone inside has never made it out again, except for one guy who's got the blood thing, and it's not great. Apparently, over the course of the last 3 years, it's swallowed up about a state park and a small town, and it hasn't stopped growing. Later that night, Lena makes some friends. She meets Anya Thorensen, a paramedic, Cassie Shepard, a geomorphologist, and I'm going to assume that's a fancy magnet scientist. That's the impression I'm getting there. And Dr. Josie Raddick. She should be called Doc. She's a physicist doctor.
Not only that, she completed her PhD like a month before being assigned to that team. Yeah. So she's very smart.
She's a doctor, and she should be addressed as such. Everyone just calls her Josie, but no, fuck it. She's Dr. Josie to me. So the three of them, her new friends, they tell her that they'll be going into the Shimmer with Ventress in a few days to see what's in there, why only one person has made it out. Lena asks why they think that no one has made it out alive, and Anya gives two theories. Either they went crazy and killed each other, or something in there killed them. So Lena decides not to mention, hey, that survivor guy is my husband, and the next day she goes to Ventress and says, please, can I come with? And then it flashes back to Benedict Wong, because he does this a lot, where he'll kind of interject into the story and he'll gain exposition. And Lena responds specifically because she owed him. So we cut back to approaching the Shimmer, and everyone looks super anxious. They're not enjoying it. But when the time comes, they enter in without hesitation. Cut to another flashback, and Lena is in the middle of activities. And she's having a good old time as the camera pans down to Dan, the coworker from earlier, the neggy guy. Lena and Dan were having an affair. Along with the other scientists, everyone except for Ventress and Lena are counting out the rations that they have left without remembering eating anything. They don't remember anything except for entering, and Josie is trying to get any signals, and she can't get anything. The crew decides to start heading south towards the ocean and starts looking for this mystery lighthouse that they've kind of been told is the epicenter of happenings. And on the way there, they notice this lodge. Lena notices that there's a bunch of plants growing around, but as she goes to look at it, she notices that these flowers aren't just flowers. They're one single plant with different species of flowers on it. Like there's like the foxglove and the hydrangea and the et cetera, et cetera. You get what I mean. So as she's trying to figure it out, Josie pops out of the lodge and she's about to give like, hey, it's all clear in there. And she's immediately pulled back inside and she's screaming. Lena grabs her, saves her. They pull her out, and then this giant albino crocodile starts coming after them, and he's really upset because he lost his lunch. Lena really badassly kills the crocodile. She then goes to look in the mouth, and she sees that it has a lot more teeth than usual, and they kind of look like shark teeth. The team takes boats from the lodge. Cassie kind of gives some more exposition. She says that Cassie, she lost her daughter. Anya is sober, but apparently she wasn't always. And that Josie doesn't show her arms for a reason. And Ventress is completely alone in life, and kind of starts up the theme of the movie that Hector loves so much.
Sorry, I found it interesting.
No, hey, don't apologize. You're fine.
And then Lena...
It's a good theme.
Yeah, and then Lena has a dying husband.
Yep.
They're all, as Cassie says, damaged goods.
Yep.
And self-destructive.
Yep. So almost immediately after this exposition fest, the characters arrive at the fort that I forgot to get the name of. Cool, I love that. This is what was previously known as the Southern Ridge, the base camp for the Shimmer. And they begin to kind of like start looking around and reminisce about the old times. And they see that they weren't the first crew to show up here. They find like a USB and they plug it into an empty camera. And they see this weird video with Kane in it that Lena recognizes. And he points the camera at some guy's belly. He cuts the belly open. It's awful. Don't look. But if you look inside, there's like his intestines are like wiggling around and like moving. An eel. Yeah, it's moving. It's alive. It's not great.
And it doesn't look like intestines. It just looks like a giant, like, transparent whitish
it looks like an eel,
an
intestinal eel
slithering around inside of him.
So anyways, everyone's super upset and they continue to explore, and then they find this weird room with a pool in it and a knife at the bottom of this empty pool, and then they find like a guy who's like half, it looks kind of like mold, but then you see it has legs and a head in the wrong spots.
It's a human body next to the wall of the pool where his top half seems to have been ripped off as this moldy looking weird stuff separate his top and bottom half.
It looks like he exploded and then immediately molded over.
Yeah. And since they found the knife at the bottom of the pool, Kane did wipe off his hands with the water there. So the body is the guy that had intestines that were moving.
The eel intestines. Love that.
Yep.
And the crew loved that so much. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just gotta say that was one of the most beautiful shots in the movie, even though it's completely disturbing.
It was disturbing, but it was really good. I think that was when I started really I was really enjoying the movie, but I think it went from like a B to, it started to go to like an A with that scene.
some good body horror in this movie.
Yeah, it was really good body horror.
This movie has a lot of like good body horror, but also a lot of bad hot body horror. Not like bad like it's visually bad, but just like I get a little squeamish. This is my pick. I'm fine. Okay, so unfortunately it's too late to find a new place to camp, so they have to sleep in the cursed fort with the mushroom man. And at one point Lena wakes up and it's super early and she goes to find Ventress and talk about why her husband signed up for this crazy suicide mission. And they're having this discussion. In the middle of it, they hear very spooky noises, and she's investigating. The rest of the crew comes out to find what happened, and Cassie is snatched up by this really big bear. They try and chase after it, but by the time they get to the perimeter fence, Cassie is long gone, screaming, help me, save me, please. Mostly just help me. But they decide, hey, we can't go until morning. Morning shows up. Anya and Josie are like, what the fuck? We need to get out of here. Mostly Anya. Anya's been freaked out the entire time. And Ventress is like, nope, we gotta go to the lighthouse. It's lighthouse time. Let's go. And she leaves, and Lena is kind of just standing there. And Anya's like, what are you doing? Don't you want to leave? And Lena's like, yeah, let's leave. And then it cuts back to that moment with Benedict Wong, and he's like, so you lied. And she's like, yeah, I lied. She said the best way to get out is to go deeper in and find the ocean and then hike it back to the beach.
Yeah.
So they're walking further in, and Anya's like, are we going to figure out what happened to Cassie or what? And Lena's like, I'll go. And Anya's like, I'll go with you. And Lena says, no. And she goes and she finds the body of Cassie, who is super dead. missing a throat. It's fine. Just a flesh wound. Just
Broken
put
bones,
some
too.
aloe on it. What?
She had some broken bones if you look closely
I mean,
enough.
a fucking bear like stomped all over her. I'd be surprised if her bones were that strong.
Yeah. I don't think I have bear maul strong limbs. I don't think I do. I don't want to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, she goes back to the group. She says, Cassie's dead. They continue on. They find the abandoned town that Ventress, I think it was Ventress, yeah, Ventress had mentioned earlier. They notice that there are plants there with the shape of a human body, and Josie figures it out. Apparently, the plants, they have this human Hox gene, which is the gene that gives people the people shape. So what's going on in the shimmer is it's like a prism, but it refracts. Thank you. I can't say the
Refracts.
word. Refracts not just light, but also like DNA and the people, like the organic matter. Yeah, it refracts everything.
Shit fucks your DNA.
Yeah. That night, as they're kind of processing the information, Anya decides that they need to have a heart-to-heart, so she gags and binds everybody in chairs. She finds out that Kane is actually Lena's husband because the necklace that Lena has around her neck. She's getting very upsetty, and she hears Cassie.
You forgot to mention one thing. That night,
Lena checks her blood, and it's already mutating. As she's having a bit of a freak out, as I think anyone would, we start to hear Cassie's voice. Help me, help me. And she goes, ha, I'm right. Lena was lying. Cassie's not dead. She goes to investigate, and we hear her get mauled off screen by a bear. The bear comes on screen, and we hear probably like this, for me, it was the most terrifying bit. The bear has like a human, well, it has a skull, and when it opens its mouth, it doesn't make bear noises anymore. It makes Cassie noises.
Oh, it had 4 eyes too.
Yeah, so it had the 2 bear eyes, and then on the sides, it had like...
I got spider vibes from it.
I got spider vibes from it, but it was implied to be Cassie's skull.
Yeah, it was. Although her skull was there.
So her skull was there, but it was like...
Her skull wasn't with the dead
again,
body.
the refraction.
Yeah.
I can say the word now, but I don't need to.
If you don't want to watch the movie, look at the picture of the bear or find a scene of the bear. I'm not good at describing the word. It's a very good design.
The word I will use is spooky, and you will think that I am understating it, because I am.
I was thinking eldritch.
Yeah.
But the bear opens its mouth, and it's just Cassie's voice yelling, help
saying
me.
Her last words, help me, help me. Anya comes back in for one last moment. You see that she has been mauled by the bear. She shoots the bear. Bear crashes in to some chairs, freeing the other women. They start ganging up on the bear, but by the time the bear is dead, Anya has her throat ripped out, just like Cassie. And then
her lower mouth and the lower jaw.
Yeah, no, the entire jaw is gone. Yeah. Again, it's just a flesh wound. She'll be fine, guys. The next morning, Ventress goes off to the lighthouse. She doesn't even wait for
What? She leaves that night for the lighthouse.
She leaves that. Oh, I didn't even get that implication.
No,
I missed that. Whatever. The next morning, Lena finds Josie, and she's talking about how Ventress, or she kind of explains what was happening with the bear. That last moment of Cassie's, it got refracted into the bear. She uses like the last part. What was like the phrasing?
The exact wording, and I took the quote here.
Thank you so much.
Because I had a bit of a gripe with that part. Was part of her mind became part of that creature that attacked her.
Imagine she says something along the lines of, imagine being afraid and alone, and that being the only part of you that like stays. Pretty much.
That was some really deep symbolism. I just wish it was explained with.
Yeah.
I don't like the. I'll explain that part. Sorry, I'll go back. Remember that. Keep that in mind. I'll go to my part. Keep going with you. Sorry.
And you notice as she's kind of talking, she's got her sleeves are showing. You can see like the self-harm cuts on her arms, and you also start to see some other stuff. And she says, Ventress wants to find what's going on, and you want to fight it, but I don't know what I want. And she gets up, and you notice that all of her veins are strangely engorged, and you see like the self-harm scars, they now have like things growing out, and she starts walking around and Lena starts to follow her, but eventually she's gone, and it's kind of implied that she mutated that fast.
Yeah,
Like the local
she
plants.
had plants growing out, and there's a scene where you can see a flower bloom on her shoulder. Yeah, it's heavily implied that she turns into one of those plant people.
Yep, although we don't get to see the plant part. I think it would have been cool, but whatever.
Probably CGI at that point.
Yeah, we see one last flashback, and it's Lena with Dan in that same moment in their affair, and then it's the moments after, and she's very upset and despondent, and Dan starts like talking with her, and we find out that this didn't happen in that year interlude where Lena didn't know where Kane was. This happened like immediately before. This is the reason that he probably, this is the reason that Kane left to go to the Shimmer.
Yeah, because Kane found out.
At the end of this flashback, we cut to the mysterious lighthouse. We see Lena on the beach. It's really pretty. There are crystal pillars that stick out like trees. It's rad. Lena gets to the lighthouse. There are bodies there that are like, it looks like they were kneeling when they died. And she goes in, and it kind of looks like fungus. It's really cool looking. There's a skeleton sitting cross-legged on one side and a camera on the other. And she goes to the camera and she watches this video, and it's a beach, and then it's Kane. Kane is rambling about something. He talks about like identity, and he doesn't know if he's him anymore. And then he starts talking to the cameraman, and he says, "Have you ever seen a phosphorus grenade go off? It's really bright. Don't look at it directly."
And then he says, "Find Lena." And a voice replies, "I will."
And it's a very familiar voice. And we see he pulls out the pin. He holds on to it, counting down. The grenade goes off. And then in the aftermath, we see Kane come out from the camera with the greased hair that he had at the beginning of the movie. And he takes it and he turns the camera off.
Also, he had a few flashbacks, which I think seemed relevant.
In the flashbacks, he always had very puffy, curly hair. It's Oscar Isaac.
There was a scene before he left. He had the slick back hair too.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
I did notice that, and I'm like, I thought the second viewing I noticed that, and I'm like, that was very interesting.
Okay. While Lena is trying not to have a mental breakdown because she just saw her husband die, she hears Ventress screaming. She goes into the hole that is on the other side of the door, crawls inside. She sees Ventress. Ventress is saying a bunch of nonsense words, and Ventress is looking kind of away from the audience. But what you can tell is she doesn't have eyes anymore. It's fine. It fixes itself right up.
Covered in skin.
Yeah, it's like skin just grew over her eyes. It's really creepy. And Lena starts talking with Ventress, and Ventress starts saying that there's something inside of her. She doesn't know what it wants. She doesn't know if it wants.
Really quickly, when Ventress turns around to look at Lena, her eyes are back.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like first.
I thought I said that. Sorry.
No, it's cool.
And she's continuing to talk until she starts barfing up a galaxy, and I hate it when I start barfing up a galaxy. You know.
That was the lighthouse is like the movie was building up to this, but like it was so good. Like that lighthouse scene really cemented it, I think, as an A+ for me.
Yeah.
She starts throwing up into the air, and it's
and it's not like
barf
liquid. It's when I say it's galaxy, I mean it's like multiple. Yeah, it looks like space, but it also kind of moves like jellyfish. It's really cool. The special effects are amazing in this movie. Anyways, back on subject, because I can stay on subject. Ventress's body is eventually consumed by this space thing, and it all kind of starts coalescing into what I kind of call like a jellyfish forge, because it looks like a jellyfish. And there's a moment where Lena has some blood on her. The droplet gets sucked into the jellyfish forge, and there's eventually a metallic-looking humanoid appears. Lena starts shooting at it, Rambo style, screaming all the way, and it doesn't seem to do anything, so she starts to run out. The creature is already there by the time she's back in the main lighthouse room. She tries to escape. She tries everything she can, but this thing is stronger than her, and it keeps mirroring her movements. And eventually she has the idea. She goes to the bag that her Kane had, the real one. She grabs the phosphorus grenade, and the mirror, the fake humanoid approaches her, she puts it in its hand, and the hand of the humanoid thing becomes a fake Lena. She makes it pull the pin, and as it starts to light up on fire, she is able to escape. The creature then kind of like, it's on fire, of course, and it starts to kind of implode on itself and set everything else on fire.
Including Kane's
remains, and eventually it goes back into the hole and it curls up, and it destroys everything in the shimmer. It then cuts back to the present, and Benedict Wong kind of confirms, like, everything's destroyed. Whatever that thing was, it's dead. It's only ash. The shimmer's back to normal, and your husband's super alive now.
The shimmer's back to normal? You mean the shimmer's gone?
The shimmer's gone. Everything that was in there is back to normal.
I don't think they said everything's back to normal, just that it was gone.
Well, all the weird shit. It cuts to it.
It doesn't say that, no, but we don't see anything else inside. What I thought happened was that everything that was changed is changed, but it's not going to affect it or make anything worse.
But it cuts to the scene where it's like the flower people, and the flower people gone.
Oh, they are?
I think so.
Ed, can you confirm? I don't remember seeing flower people.
That's the point.
I think all that Wong says is that everything is ash at the lighthouse. There's nothing left. And yes, I don't remember if he says that if everything's back to normal or not.
That was the implication that I got. Kane is stabilized, and Lena asks to go see him. And the movie ends with her seeing him. She asks, "You aren't Kane, are you?" And he says, "I don't think so." And then he asks, "Are you Lena?" And she gasps, and then he embraces her. It's very ambiguous.
And then the eye.
Oh yeah, and then his eyes start changing colors, and then her eyes start changing colors. And it's kind of ambiguous because that's the end of the movie.
Yes.
And we have some very different theories about the end there. Ruthie and I have.
Yeah, we've been not arguing, but
we've been debating it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my super short, abbreviated synopsis.
Still shorter than my Tenet one.
I think it is technically, yeah.
So, can I go through my stuff since you've been talking for like an hour?
Sure, my jaw hurts.
Yeah. And mine is going to be pretty short because, again, this is one of my favorite movies.
Mine's kind of short, too. This might end up being a pretty short episode.
Yeah. So, things that I liked. And really cool, interesting things I saw. When Lena first looks at the shimmer, her eyes are shimmering.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Cool little detail there. Like, her eyes are shimmering the same way as at the end of the movie.
Yes, I was going to say, like, the way her eyes are shining, too, when she's in the alien room with the forged thing. I don't know, I felt like that was very significant.
Oh, yeah, her eyes were, they were shimmering.
They weren't quite shimmering, like, in the first, or that last bit. But
it looked more like just the reflection of the jellyfish forge, which I think is a very good description of it. But yeah, just a lot of really cool, small things. One of the most beautiful films I've ever seen in my life. One thing I like about this is that I'm going to go into some cinematography stuff. A lot of the scenes, especially in the beginning of the movie and even near the end, there's a lot of symmetry in the shots, and characters are almost always in the center of the frame, especially with the Wong and Lena interrogation in the beginning. Lena even painting the bedroom. For a lot of it, she's just in the center of the frame as she's doing stuff. And then if there's more than one character in the scene, they're kind of like an equidistant. They're in opposite sides of the frame if you like split it down the middle, especially with the mirrored metallic maybe alien.
Yeah, that one it was very noticeable. I noticed that one. I didn't notice it in any other spots.
Very symmetrical. And also the movie beautifully. I think the filming style is very good, as well as the very slow pans. There's not very quick shots either. Most single takes tend to linger for several seconds. I'd say the average shot length is like 5 or 6 seconds overall.
For like normal movies, or for in this movie?
In this movie, like this movie's average shot length is like 5 or 6 seconds. That's one take, and then it cuts. Other movies tend to be more like 2 or 3 seconds. No, this is just stuff that I like right now.
Okay, my bad.
Very Ventress is always doing something with her hands, which I think is cool, in my opinion. It shows this like disconnect that she has with people. She's talking with people, but I think when she's drawing or like playing with a stone that she has, or even like eating the nuts that she was eating in the shimmer, which she's the only one shown that's ever eating something. It brings this disconnect that she's not really invested in the conversation with other people. She has this huge, the only motivation is the lighthouse. Yes. Oscar Isaac, Kane, and Natalie Portman's Lena's chemistry was, I felt it so real. Like it made me care for both of those characters, which is good. Good job. Actor, very good job. Another cool detail, Lena has that like infinity Ouroboros tattoo on her arm, and it seems to be like an army thing because the guy who got his stomach open also had that tattoo, and I think Oscar also had it as well.
Can I interrupt you? Sorry, I did that already. That was not on her arm before she showed up to the shimmer. That appears as she's in the shimmer.
It does.
Fake Kane has it. Real Kane doesn't. In my theory, real Lena doesn't. Fake Lena does. That guy had it. I don't think
one of the other ladies had it.
Yeah.
So before they even went in.
Yeah, they got. Remember, she's in the boat with Cassie, and she says, "Oh, I must
Anya
have gotten
has
this
it,
bruise."
doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she has the bruise, and then it turns into a tattoo. Oh fuck! And here I thought I picked up almost everything from my fourth, fifth rewatch. Wow. Mm-mm. Wow. Yeah, that Ouroboros tattoo. I noticed it, and I'm like, who else has that? But yeah, I guess.
Wait a minute. Ouroboros. I didn't realize it was Ouroboros.
Yeah, I thought it was just the infinity.
No, it might be and then Ouroboros makes sense.
It's a snake eating its tail.
Yeah, that's an Ouroboros. Yeah,
no, that makes sense.
Makes a lot more sense.
Theory, with your theme thing.
Well, it is. The director confirmed the theme is self-destruction.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. First scene when they first go into the shimmer, the rays of light are like rainbowish, shimmery color. It's amazingly beautiful. Another thing that I really liked. These are all small details that I picked up later for my like third viewing. When they first show up at the base, there's that fungus-looking thing growing on the wall, not the one with the human, and it shows a really close-up on it, and the fungus is like moving. It's like pulsating and stuff. Ooh. If you didn't notice, very.
I like that, but I also don't like that.
Yeah, it's very, very subtle movements. It's just kind of like, just very slowly pulsating or something like that. Last things, small little detail: the house where Anya ties everybody up is the same as Lena's house. It is exactly the same floor plan, and Lena tends to notice this. She looks at the frame at the base of the stairs, and yeah, she just her face. She's like, "This is familiar." And little thing about other scenes is when Lena is looking for Shepard, she runs into these deer, 2 deers. They're like mirrors of each other. They're mirrors of each other, and
yeah,
it looks it's how do I say it? Like they follow the same thing. They're doing the same thing, exactly the same, and they look similar, but they're not exactly the same. One of the deer has a very vibrant white coat of fur, and their antlers, its antlers are like tree branches with flowers growing on it. The other deer that is behind it actually looks kind of half decomposed. Yep. It has patches of white fur. Its face is actually a skull. Its snout is missing. All it has on its face that is alive are like its eyes, and its branch antlers don't have any flowers. They look dry, like a dried dead tree. And when they prance off, they're following the same exact pattern of jumping and stuff.
It follows the theme again.
Yeah, what, self-destruction?
Yeah. Well, like mirroring and like
mirror symmetry, stuff like that.
Don't forget the cancer, because it's like There's a lot of. Oh, did you get the detail about the book that they were when they were both reading the books? Her book was about that one cancer patient.
It was like the immortal life of Henrietta something.
Yes, yeah. Henrietta. And if you don't know the story, for the listeners, Henrietta was a woman who had cancer.
I think it was like ovarian cancer.
Ovarian cancer. They took the cancer cells and they still use those cells to this day to study cancer. And a lot of medical discoveries have come from that. But the thing is, they took it from her without her consent.
Not cool.
And her family has not been given anything for that.
Super not cool.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up. I honestly, yeah.
I did not know that.
It's a weird double-edged sword, you know?
Yeah.
What else? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the bear looks the same as the dead deer. Like, it's got skull face and
it's got the extra eye sockets on the like edge.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Also the scene with the glass trees and the beach, amazingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That was another moment where I was hypnotized, but it was less because of but it was more just like, whoa.
This movie,
it takes like a left turn, but like in the best way when we get to the lighthouse part.
It's a very eldritch cosmic horror.
Spoilers, by the way.
I've never seen it put to film like this.
Yeah.
3 things.
I think this is what Color Out of Space should have been. I haven't seen it, but I imagine this is what it should have been.
Huge inspiration from it. Huge inspiration from the short story. This movie
believe it.
From Color Out of Space.
Yeah.
3 things that are like not very nitpicky kind of stuff, but things that I would maybe change. The first one is the title cards of Area X Shimmer Lighthouse. This movie is split into kind of like 5 parts. Like,
is it 5? I thought there was only the 3.
Well, there's the prologue where it's just the beginning
then there's
of the movie,
finale. Okay, yeah, no, I see what you mean.
Shimmer Lighthouse and the ending.
Yeah.
After the lighthouse, which is good. I don't know what it would do for the pacing. I think maybe they were kind of good just to kind of keep it going, kind of thing. Like, what do I say? Like, you can have your own little arcs in all of these little short chapters. But yeah, I'm just wondering how, if you remove those title cards, how the pacing of the movie would be affected, because the pacing was very good. And I don't know. I didn't feel like the title cards affected the pacing for me, but I don't know. Just curious what the title, what taking the title cards would do.
I'm in the same boat. I think the way that they did it, because how it would change, how you'd kind of get the like new section is there'd be the title card and then it would be a flashback. I didn't mention most of the flashbacks in the synopsis that I gave because a lot of them are focused on Lena's relationship with Kane in flashbacks, and they kind of serve as, motivation and also like exposition and giving Oscar Isaac another chance to just be an amazing actor. I'm not biased. What are you talking about? But they kind of frame her emotional state throughout the whole movie, and they kind of frame the sections. Because the first part, it's like all of her flashbacks are focused on Kane. The second part, all of them are focused on this guilt about Dan, and it's kind of mysterious. And then the third bit is like the pieces coming together, finding out about the affair with Dan, broke Kane. Kane got really distant. And then he went to the Shimmer.
And again, that's kind of why I think that if there's anyone who is maybe not an antagonist, but who takes on a bit more of a more not good role. I mean, in the past, at least, it'd be Lena. She does kind of like, God, I don't know how to say this, because like, I'm not trying to, I don't know how to say this, because like, I don't think she's a bad person. I get, people make mistakes. I get that. But it's just like, in the scale of things, she is part of the reason that Kane died.
She's kind of one of the shitty. Her actions are kind of one of the more shitty ones in the movie. But if I can give my own take, if anything, Lena reminds me of like Greek protagonists in a way. Protagonist. So I can be a little nerdy here. The first word proto is first, and agonist is actor. She's the first actor, she causes Kane's self-destruction. And Hector and I have talked about this a lot, but what we've failed to talk about is that's not the first thing. He's not the first self-destruction, he's the second. the first self-destruction in the timeline of this movie is Lena's.
Yeah.
There's a moment when she's talking with Ventress right before Cassie is killed, and she's talking about why would Kane go on this suicide mission. And Ventress says it's not suicide, it's self-destruction. And she starts going on this diatribe. And there's this moment where she says, it can be anything. It can be, and she lists off a few things, and she finally goes on a happy marriage, and it cuts immediately. Well, it flashes to Natalie Portman, Lena's face, and she just looks horrified for a second. And when I first saw them, my first viewing, it was like, oh, because Kane self-destructed his marriage with Lena by leaving to the Shimmer. He just interrupted it all. And the second one, it's like, oh, no, it's because she cheated on Dan and he found out. She self-destructed their marriage.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's fair to blame Lena. However, for Kane's death,
no, it's his fault. It is his, like, it's on him. But like
he made the choice. He volunteered to go into the Shimmer.
Yes, but he
chose to self-destruct.
I know. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not trying to pin the blame on like.
No, he's just what Hector's trying to say is that Lena was a significant factor in his decision-making process.
Yes, but you said it was Lena's fault. It is not.
No. I didn't mean to say it like that earlier.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's Lena's fault. I'm just saying like she could have she was a major catalyst for this happening.
Yes, agreed. Last thing also, I don't know if this was intentional, but when Lena's watching the clip of Kane like killing himself with the phosphorus grenade, he's talking in what sounds like a southern accent.
Right?
He has a southern accent throughout the movie. It's just more some bits are more subtle, but he does have it throughout the movie.
He does?
It's just very subtle. There's remember the flashback where the two of them are in bed and he's like, you're disrespecting the president, you're disrespecting our troops. And then she's like, oh, am I disrespecting the flag? And he's like, you're disrespecting the flag. He kind of has a southern twang there. It just seems to come out more when he's in the Shimmer.
Yeah. I didn't notice it outside of the Shimmer. And even the Kane clone doesn't have it. Honestly, the only thing I would change is when the bear first shows up, make everything darker. It just kind of like
wait.
Shepard is right there. Shepard is right in front of her, and it seems pretty well lit, and they don't see a gigantic bear come up and grab Shepard from like 10 feet away from her. I don't know. I think like the scene and how it's shot is fine. Just turn up the darkness a bit.
Wait, could you represent the darkness a little more? Because when Hector and I were watching it, it was really hard for us to say. Maybe it's because we were watching it in the daylight. Do you think you could shoot it in a way where it's like very obviously like night vision? Like they can't see it, but we can. Like a hindsight camera. Like Lena, like, yeah, if we'd thought about it, maybe like, it was obvious that the bear was there, but we didn't see it. This is probably what happened. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I just, that's the only part of the movie where I'm like a little like, okay, how did you not see the bear? Like, because it's not particularly even tall grass in general. It like goes up to their knees.
Yeah, and they don't even hear it like destroy the fence too.
They do hear it destroy the fence.
Oh, they do
hear it destroy the fence.
They do hear it break through the fence.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, and yeah, either grass taller or darkness more.
I think grass taller would be better.
Or even make the flashlight that they have start flickering.
Ooh, yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the only gripe I have with the movie,
I feel
honestly.
Like the flashlight flickering, as given it is also too much of a horror movie tell. I mean, for a movie that is like...
Yeah,
well, you could even do it like right before... Well, I guess that would be a little bit more of a jump
Maybe if you
scare.
do it like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, just like start to allude to it. Or just like, damn, this thing's getting dimmer.
Yeah, and then just then start the talk about self-destruction, and then that way it's like Chekhov's gun instead of a horror movie like, oh, you're about to get jump scared kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only thing that honestly...
No,
it's not even that bad. It's the only thing
other than the worst line in cinematographic history.
Tell the worst line.
Oh, the worst line is when Lena is making friends and she says she just met Anya and crew and she finds out that they're going into the Shimmer and she says, So it's the three of you and Lena, or in Ventress, all women scientists. Like, it took me out of the movie.
Lena says all women, and Josie kind of interjects right after she finishes, like correcting her. It's like all women scientists. Like it saves the scene a little bit, but yeah,
not enough.
Not enough. I agree.
Because
the movie's good with, like, representation and not making it a huge deal that they're all women, except for that one little line, which kind of kills the whole point.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the like gripes that guys have. I say guy, it's mostly guys. Like, oh, it has to be feminist. Oh, there has to be all girl Ghostbusters. Like,
what are we, some kind of all women scientists?
Yeah,
but it's interjecting like the girl power thing when it doesn't need to be in there. Like, you can just have all these STEM major women and not mention it. I think it would have been so much more powerful if they hadn't.
Like in Endgame, Jesus, that was so obviously
and especially dumb. And such like a slap to the face, because at that point I don't even think they'd have had like a female lead movie yet.
No, they had Captain Marvel, but that was it.
Oh, they just had Captain Marvel.
Infinity War did it a lot better.
Also, you're crackling that so much.
Sorry. Also, Infinity War did it a lot better.
Oh yeah, with Wakanda, Spear Lady, Black Widow, and Scarlet Witch, right?
That was a much better version of the scene.
And they don't mention that.
They don't give any obviousness to it. It's just three badass
but in Endgame, somebody says like, you're all alone, and then fucking Pepper Potts shows up. It's like, he's not alone, and then all the women show up behind her. It's like, come on.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be obvious. We're not stupid. We can see who's a man or a woman. Like, come on. Anyways, this isn't about Endgame.
Yeah.
Annihilation.
Yeah. It takes you out of the movie, and it doesn't even need that, because like it's better when you don't notice it and you realize at the end, like, oh yeah, it was all women. Like, hell, this movie doesn't even pass like a reverse Bechdel test where you flip it on its head and it's like two men with names talking to each other, not about a woman. Because we barely have two men.
We have Kane
and
okay, we got Dan and Kane and Benedict Wong, whose name is never really mentioned.
It is mentioned.
It's mentioned, but not.
I don't remember
in the credits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I like how it's like they got Anya. What's her last? Anya Thompson is her name, right?
So there's Anya Thorensen. Then there's Josie Radek. And fun fact, Josie Radek is played by the lady Teresa Thompson, who is in the third Thor movie.
Oh yeah, that's
Thorensen.
Right. And then
Cassie... Gina Rodriguez is Gina Rodriguez from Jane the Virgin is Anya.
Yeah. And then Cassie Shepard, like they have a first and last name, but for Ventress it's just Dr. Ventress.
Dr. Ventress.
And Lena is just Lena.
Yeah.
Same with Kane. They don't reveal their last names. All right. Mm-hmm. Cool little thing. But yeah, Annihilation, really good movie. I really wouldn't change much if I could. Honestly, all these things that I said I might change, or the two things I might change, I would just like change it, see how it affects what I'm trying to feel for it, see if the title cards affects the pacing, see if the bear scene was darker, how it would feel a little bit. Yeah, it's just I can't really picture changing that and it being better or worse right now, because this movie is just near perfect.
Yeah.
See, now I feel like an asshole, because I feel like there was just some little tweaks and it could be even better.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I guess
everyone has their own opinion. For me, this movie's near perfect.
I mean, yeah, no, it's a gorgeous movie. I love it. Like, as much as I make jokes about like, I don't like it. Like, it's like this love-hate relationship, because I don't like a lot of gore, but at the same time, ooh, shiny.
Is this just like me? Is this your version of me and Tenet?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, no, it's not like me. It's not like you and Tenet, because the more you talk about it, especially with certain people, the less you like it. I still really like it. It's just there's little things.
Okay, so I liked The acting, holy shit, everyone gave it their all. Everyone gave it their all. The cinematography was gorgeous, like all throughout. Everything was shot well. I didn't notice the symmetry thing, but now that I see it, I'm like, that's cool.
Now that you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and it's like the lighthouse especially. Like I want to talk about the rest of it being good, but like that lighthouse, like my God, that was everything.
Can I mention something actually that I forgot? Now that you mentioned the lighthouse.
Yeah, sure.
Where the meteor crashed, that area,
mm-hmm.
It's just like a pentagon, hexagon, like tunnels, completely symmetrical.
The moldy tunnel, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you noticed, the whole structure underneath, it's wiggling.
Yeah.
Pulsating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that. So yeah, the lighthouse is cool, visceral, and it was the most cosmic part of the movie. I fucking love that kind of cosmic shit. Give me more of that.
Spoilers, by the way.
For what?
Cosmic shit.
Oh God. Like
comedy comes in threes. Stay tuned.
Spoilers for part 3, for stage 3. So yeah, lighthouse, great, cosmic, love it. I love space. The writing was really good. Like the whole thing, the themes, the stuff it goes over, it was all really, really, really good, which makes this whole reshoot thing harder for me. Thank you, Ruthie, for picking this movie. I'm joking. I loved it. I'm glad to see it. This was a fun excuse to see it.
Happy Valentine's Day. We're recording this the day after Valentine's Day for context.
Also, one thing I've said in the past, I don't like horror films mainly because of jump scares. This movie doesn't have really jump scares. It's just does cosmic and unsettling horror, which is my favorite kind.
The closest...
don't forget the body horror.
There's a lot of body horror,
I'm fine with body horror.
The closest it gets to jump scares is when Josie is like going into the lodge and then she comes out and she's like, it's all good. And then she immediately gets grabbed by the alligator. And that was kind of a bit of a
It was an obvious one.
So it was an obvious one, but I also kind of chuckled like when Edwin and I were talking about the Meg. It was kind of that moment for me. But also when Cassie got snatched by the bear. We knew it was coming, but also like,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a jump scare.
But I also like how the second bear scene, it just calmly walks into the house.
Yeah, I think that was more terrifying than anything. Yeah. Like it knew the movie knew what it was doing.
Take notes, Blumhouse.
Hey, Blumhouse makes some good horror movies.
Yeah.
Fight me, Blumhouse.
You're gonna lose.
Will I though?
I mean, I know they make their movies for cheap, but that's still like you're gonna lose. Anyway, so I feel like I'm forgetting another thing I like, but I can just say it later. Changes. I'm surprised they didn't.
Oh, you didn't go to dislikes. Oh, you don't have any.
I don't really have any dislikes this time. Like this movie's really good. Like I said, this might be an A+ movie for me. This is like the best movie we've seen in the podcast so far. So, changes. I'm surprised they didn't enter with hazmat suits. I think it will be more effective. Hear me out. It will be more effective because I know it's like, oh, it's a hex. It wasn't going to work. But they don't know that. So that'd be interesting if they walk in with hazmat suits and the next thing they know, when they wake up a few days later or whatever, how long later, the hazmat suits are just gone. And they start to realize it slowly. Like, wait a minute. Yep. Oh, no. When did we take this off? What the hell's going on?
Yep.
And then it'd be more terrifying because then it's this prism, this whole shimmer is even more mysterious because look what it made them do. One thing I didn't really like as much was the part of her mind became part of that creature that attacked her. The way they phrased it, it's just kind of weird to me. I get where they're going for, like, you know, maybe it's like, oh, maybe the worst of us or our pain is what we're, especially during the tragic moments, sometimes if it's in the end, is what we're remembered for. Like people who have cancer, or certain illnesses. I'm going with cancer because the movie has a lot of cancer. But like with people who die of certain illnesses, that's the last thing they're remembered by. I knew someone who died of cancer, and he was a great person. He was a leader in my kids' group in Sunday school. But whenever I see, maybe because I was so young, but whenever I think of him, I always remember one of the first things that pops up is the cancer that overtook him. So I get that's what it's going for, and I'm kind of forgiving of the line. Because like it's weird because again
it was phrased
weirdly because
if
it was from someone who wasn't a scientist it would have been better, but the fact that it was Tessa Thompson's character, was Tessa Thompson's her name?
Yeah, it was Dr. Josie.
Dr. Josie. The fact that it was her character who had been talking very scientifically up until that point, you know, like, yeah, I get it. Scientists aren't always metaphysical, and sometimes they'll go more from the heart, but it just felt weird, out of place.
It came at the point right before she, you know, kind of had that moment of giving up. It was kind of her being vulnerable because she was talking about how scary that would be to her.
Yeah, it's just...
Also, it sounds like, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, it's fine. Keep going.
But like when I first saw it, almost wasn't like a physical thing, and I disliked that it was like, oh, it's just her mind, it's her brain, it's her voice, because to me it almost felt like a part of her soul was now connected to the bear. No, and I guess it depends on if you believe in the souls or not.
Yeah, and I get that's what the movie's going for, and I get, again, the metaphor of like, oh, the cancer is, you know, the bear is cancer, and that sometimes like the thing that kills us sometimes is what we're remembered by more, and I get that. It's just the line was weird. I would have found a way to change that.
Yeah.
I can't think of what, though. I've racked this over my brain for over a week, and I can't think of anything. So I'm just gonna be blunt. The movie's theme is self-destruction. The director has confirmed it, and I think cancer was a very good metaphor, or like symbolism. Can't think of the right word for
metaphor.
Metaphor of self-destruction, because, you know, medicinenet.com says cancer is an, I quote, abnormal growth of cells which tend to proliferate in an uncontrolled way, and in some cases to metastasize, thank you, and spread. So also I thought it was cool that it showed through like the fungus and stuff in the trees, because, you know, and I kind of had an idea from something I saw. There's a French rapper named Stromae, and he sings a song he raps about cancer, and very subtly in the song, when the music video, when he's dancing, when he's talking about the cancer that killed, I think, hurt his mother or grandfather or whatever, when he's dancing, an extra leg splits off from his leg for a brief second and then comes back in, and it's never mentioned again or seen again. It's very subtle. I didn't catch it the first 2 times I watched the video.
Also, if you want to watch the video, it is cancer, which if you pronounce it, it sounds like cancer in English. I think it's a French word as well.
Yeah, but so I'm wondering, and that's what I'm thinking, like when you mentioned the deer, Ed, and how they're copies, I'm wondering if one of them is like
the metaphorical cancer.
The metaphorical cancer.
Probably. It's like
probably. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe some of the team have extra, maybe we'll get an extra limb slowly growing, just subtly. Like maybe an extra finger starts to pop out in a few scenes, or like you can notice like colorations or like weird bumps that start to, near the end, start to form into something.
Anya's hand
or they're
moving.
Huh?
Oh yeah,
Anya's hand was pulsating.
And she talks when she's having her little I don't want to call it a hissy fit because that sounds when she's being a little upset.
When she had her breakdown?
When she had a breakdown, yeah. She talks about how her fingerprints are moving, and will her insides move like that too?
Yes, and I it's good, but I'm just wondering if, like, for example, one thing I was curious about was when they mentioned like Ventures had cancer when it was said. I'm like, oh, what are the signs? And there's no visual signs until the end. I was wondering if maybe Chico had like some bomb, like something growing, like this prism is mutating her cancer even more, and it's just leading it to like grow in weird ways. I don't know, like maybe they have different color. Maybe some of them will have different colors. Maybe the eye thing, you know, maybe
the eye thing would have been a good effect. I feel like if it was anything more obvious, it would have been obvious to them because they're scientists. They're trained to observe.
Yeah.
But especially Anya, because she's a paramedic.
But like they did the thing with the tattoo, right? It was subtle. Yeah. Just something like that. Maybe especially for Ventress would have been cool, or not cool. I feel really bad saying cool.
It would have been an interesting effect.
I didn't like how they just said Ventures had cancer.
Yeah.
And like when what's his name?
Benedict Wong.
Benedict Wong, thank you. Sorry, Benedict, if you ever hear this.
He won't.
We love you.
You never know. Benedict Wong, like when he says it, I was just like, oh, that's a good explanation. And it kind of retextualizes everything in the past and what happens in the future. But at the same time, like if it had been more hinted at.
Yeah. In fact, sorry, I'm kind of reshooting and you're stepping on your toes, but what if Lena had been the one to like say like, hey, like what if she was like coughing at one point, she's doing something with her hand, she coughs and there's a little bit of blood and Lena's like, oh, what is that? And Ventus is like, oh, nothing, it's cancer.
I don't know about the coughing. Good idea, but I don't like.
You get what I mean? Like Lena is the one. She's like the oncologist, biologist, cells. it would further cement her as smart lady.
Yeah. No.
Other than being played by Natalie Portman.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Certified smart lady.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see what you're going for. I kind of agree. I just think something else, like maybe a slight, maybe behind her neck, there's some coloration, but it's nothing much to show, stuff like that. That was one of my biggest issues, like that whole thing. I kind of thought it was cool how they explained like the shimmer's just refracting everything and changing the DNA and the structure. I did have one stupid nitpick, and it doesn't really ruin the movie. It's just kind of weird. So Anya yells at Lena to wake her up, right? I'm like, oh, you fucking lied to me, da, da, da. And then she just knocks her out within like 10 seconds again. And it's like, why didn't you just like have her wake up? And she's like, oh, you fucking lied to me. And then she just gets hit.
Well, so here's the thing. Like every time we see a character who's kind of like about to die in the shimmer, they're kind of losing it. And you see that later with Anya, but you see it with Ventress and with Kane too. They start saying really weird stuff. Ventress is talking about but she was talking about the beyond, the beacon,
unfathomable mind,
unfathomable mind. I don't know what it wants. I don't even know if it wants. And then there's Kane, who's like, I used to know who I am. I don't know who I am anymore. And then Anya
people call me
on
Kane. I don't know if he's like, people call me Kane.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's me or if it's you.
Yeah, no.
But and like then Anya, like not too long later, she's like, I see my fingerprints changing. If you cut me open like that guy in the video, would my insides move like that?
No, and I get that. It's just more
she's not in her right mind.
No, I get that. It just seemed weird. It just seemed like a waste of wake up, sleep, wake up. It feels like that could have been condensed a little. And it's again, it's a nitpick. I'm saying it's a nitpick.
I mean, considering all my reshoots thus far have basically been nitpicks, I'm not gonna judge.
This is basically a nitpick podcast. Let's be real.
True.
So that was it. Also, I found it interesting how Ventress, didn't have eyes in the lighthouse until Lena talks to her, and then she mentions unfathomable mind, beacon, and then sea. And I'm just like this is like really the ending just kind of takes like a really hard shift to like Eldritch Lovecraft. Also, I keep thinking of like Bloodborne, if anyone who's played it. And I'm just, because there's like the blind man who points you towards the water, and then you fall in, and then I'm not going to spoil what happens after you fall in, but
yeah, it's a common theme in these kind of stories. Yeah. Like the Lovecraftian, like the eyes are a hindrance to see what truth there really is.
And I feel like it was more Lovecraftian almost than Lovecraft. Because like the gods are arguably evil in a sense, but
in here it's not even that they're evil. It's just that it's different. Unknown.
They're different. They go on a different scale.
If it is even alive, it's unfathomable to us. If it's alive, we probably don't have a definition for what it is, and it doesn't seem to. Ventress mentions she doesn't know if it even wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
anything.
Well, like the theme behind Lovecraft's stories was his horror was existential. It wasn't just, is there a god? It's, no, there are gods, but it's worse. They not only did they have like ambivalence towards us, they don't even know we exist. The chief god of his mythos, it's as whatever it is, but this god, he's the sleeping god, he's the dumb god. If he wakes up, all of reality as we know it is ceasing to exist. So you're kind of just hoping to sing lullabies to keep him asleep.
Yeah, stuff like that's just interesting. I haven't seen it put.
Yeah, because usually it's like, oh, it's Cthulhu, it's the big giant squid guy who's chasing you to your ship.
And this time it was just a small comet.
Yeah. So if it's just a small comet, what else is out there?
With a mix of DNA of people. Like,
yeah,
it was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's perfect, but I feel like if one of them had hinted at something like that earlier, like, because if maybe like Ventress was thinking about it earlier, maybe she mentions a line.
If she mentions like
unfathomable,
something like it's unfathomable. Like there's one bit where she's like, if we go back now, it's less explicable. What if she had gone like it's unfathomable?
Yes.
And everyone's like, what are you in 1800s novel? And she's like, no, it's nothing.
some like, or just like unfathomable, and it's like a big word, and that will be enough to kind of hit, and then it comes back later and it's like, oh, maybe
she's
been
like always muttering under her breath even.
I don't know, I feel like that's
not always muttering under her breath.
No, I see what you're saying. I don't think that she had to mumble everyone once. Again, this movie's really well written. I think that it's just maybe one or two lines here and there. That's if anything, and it doesn't even have to, because I think the surprise at the end is still really good and it's effective because there's enough leading up.
Spoilers, by the way.
But
this is a spoiler podcast.
It's a joke because she's been doing the spoiler thing 3 times now.
Yeah, I'm hilarious.
And yeah. Come on, Egg. Anyway, she.
Call me that again and I'm leaving.
We were gonna do a joke for April Fools, like, "Hey, look back. Hey, Ed, listen back to this episode where we call you Egg,
Eduardo Soler,
and then see what happened if you picked it up." But you picked it up. Okay.
I'm leaving.
But yeah, that just one line, just in the middle, just a hint, and you don't even need it. It's just something that I thought would be interesting, but I'm not sure if it's necessary.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. A plus film. All right, Ruthie, your turn.
Cool. I'm gonna have the unpopular opinion. Nitpick queen, here to grace you with my opinions that are wrong.
I mean,
right.
My joke. I still am worried that Joker opinion I gave is gonna bite me back in the ass one day, even though I didn't mean anything bad by it.
Nah. When we get to the point of getting Twitter hate, it's all gonna be on me, baby.
Are you serious? All right, go for
it. Let's see. Probably.
How about this? Joker isn't a great movie. It's not very good.
No. Oh no.
Ed, according to Zack Snyder and Jared Leto now, we live in a society. Take that back.
We live in a society where Joker is not that good of a movie.
Oh damn. Anyways, brilliant interlude to my likes. Hector and Egg have said it perfectly.
It's just not even responding anymore. He's done.
Don't even give it acknowledgement.
Sorry, keep going.
Okay. You guys have already said all the things that I like about it. All the cast, not just Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman, but especially them. They're all just amazing. Like, there's nobody that's not pulling their weight, you know? Like, everybody's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the colors. Good God, you guys didn't talk about the colors. Everything's saturated. It's so pretty, especially in the shimmer. Mostly in the shimmer.
Yeah,
that's where the movie
talked about the rays of light.
Yeah, well, the rays of light, but just like the colors in general. Because like there's the mold on the trees or like the fungus or whatever, and it's like Technicolor barf, and it's beautiful, and I just want to stare at it.
Did I not mention that?
Speaking of colors and stuff like that. There's this movie I saw called Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
We've seen it.
Oh, that one. Oh, that old chestnut. Yeah, I love that movie.
That has more vibrant colors because it was, fun fact, shot in 8K.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And they literally made sure that most movie theaters can't even play it.
Mm-hmm.
No, but so even shooting it in 8K and downsizing it to 4K or 1080p, the colors still stand out more.
I hope to see it in 8K one day. Anyway, keep going.
The beautiful future. Anyways, I liked the colors. You guys mentioned the colors, but like, I just want to emphasize the colors.
Oh yeah. I mean, it technically is kind of like synonymous now with cosmic.
Yeah, true.
So that's why I didn't want to overstate it, but like personally. But yeah, no, I love cosmic shit. Love colors.
Yeah. Okay. The scientists, for the most part, acted like scientists, and they didn't even have to rely on the technobabble then English trope, because they all know each other. They all respect each other's skill levels. They talk to each other like people. They act pretty realistic for horror movie characters as well, which is surprising. I loved the characterization of Lena. She's just chef kiss. She's I don't know. I really like her. I also really like this thing because there's something that you notice in American cinema and in European cinema. There are signifiers that are in American cinema where it's like if a character does these two things, they're automatically evil. They're the worst. You cannot trust them. They will never do anything good ever. They cheat on their partner. They injure or harm an animal. Those are the two, like, no-nos. You can't get past that.
The Dio method.
True. And then in European films, like there's this one I saw called Red. The beginning of the movie, the main character accidentally hits another character's dog. And she's not Eve. Like the movie does not paint her as that bitch who hit the dog.
Wait, French movie Red?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen White.
Oh, I've seen White.
I like
Nice.
White. I like White. Anyway, keep going.
But yeah, like the movie introduces Lena and she's always a person. She's never that bitch who whatever, except to Anya. But I mean, that's kind of explained. That's Anya's perspective. And then finally, just the little details of this movie. It's so obvious that whoever was editing and just paid attention to that kind of thing. There's the extra eye sockets on the scary bear. And then there's those plants that are growing out of Josie. You don't just see it when she's getting up to leave. You see her veins and like the self-harm scars just, oh, and not to mention the tattoos and the bruises. Like they didn't have to do that because the way that the stuff was shot, I am assuming, I'm not the camera person. The way that it's shot, you don't have to do that. You could get away with not having that detail in there, but they do it anyway. It's so good. My eye just likes watching this movie.
Mine is too.
As for my dislikes, as realistic as they are, there are moments where they don't have that self-preservation, and Hector kind of captured it with his first reshoot of having the hazmat suits in there. I was totally gonna have it in there, and this is gonna sound like a cop-out, but I forgot. But yeah, I wanted to do something a little similar, but he kind of captured that where it's like, where's their caution? And you especially see that in the hunting lodge, like the little fishing place as well, because like they immediately just kind of go off and separate into different corners, and Josie's like, hey, this room's empty. No, it's not. And like there's the part where Lena goes off alone to go find Cassie when Anya offered to go with her. It made no sense why Lena would want to go alone. If anything, it would make more sense that she would want Anya there because she's a trained soldier. Lena's the trained soldier. It doesn't make sense that she doesn't want Anya there. But it doesn't make sense why she's like, no, I'm going to go by myself. It just seems a little
weird. I don't know. That was a little weird, I agree.
My other dislike, why didn't they start at the coast if they're trying to find the lighthouse? Like they started in the middle of the woods and then they get surprised when they get lost. They're trying to get to the lighthouse. It's on the coast. Why not start with the easiest path forward?
They don't. I always figured
Filter?
This is the closest method. They don't know how far wide it is.
But even then, as far as they know, no one else has returned. So wouldn't it make sense to start with probably the easiest path instead of the shortest path?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know why this isn't bothering me as much as it should, but I don't mind.
The lighthouse is right on the beach, so like if it was spreading equally on all parts, it was starting at the beach or starting from where they started would be no change in distance.
It wouldn't be any change in distance, but like if you're standing on the beach, you'd get there faster. You just walk.
Maybe shelter. They were concerned about shelter and stuff.
Also, we don't know how.
And also, they're
how
scientists. They want to
is.
study stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just liked it. I found it to be a plot hole. Also, I already mentioned this. The all-woman scientist thing. It bothered me so much. It almost ruined the movie for me. Luckily, I have a short attention span and completely forgot about it.
I think it's a thing that like it's a forgettable line because I even forgot that line was in the movie. Maybe another saving grace for it.
Yeah. So I guess for my reshoots, it would just be like, again, it's not very long. It's more just like fixing up my little nitpicks because I'm the nitpicker. Honestly, I think the movie should play out basically as normal. I don't really have to change all that much. It's just this one thing that makes a little bit more sense to me. They keep saying over and over at the beginning of the movie, no one survived this. No one's got out alive. We don't have any information. So why are they sending the scientists to do what the soldiers couldn't? Like, I get they're trying to solve the problem as fast as possible, but they're not doing it the smartest way possible. So in my mind, how I would fix that. I think that the reason that they should send the scientists in is not, hey, we threw some muscle at it and it didn't work. Let's go brains. It's let's get some research. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's figure out if it's survivable or not. The scientists are going to go in and do basic recon. They're going to stay on the beach. They're going to get to the point where they can see the lighthouse at the farthest. And then they're going to come right the fuck back. No detours, maybe some sampling as they go. Don't stay in there, get out. That is to be repeated over and over again. This is recon only. However, whenever Lena and Ventress are talking, the two of them are like, yeah, no, that's not happening. They're both very obsessed with trying to get the lighthouse. I don't think that should change at all. I just think from the beginning, it should be Anya, Josie, and Cassie being like, okay, we're going to get in, we're going to get out. We're going to survive this. It's going to be fine. We're not going to die. We're not going to get eel intestines. It's fine. And then they go in. And then they wake up in the woods.
All right, that's actually a fun idea.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, how did we abandon the plan? Where are we? How do we get out?
All right.
Kind of adds more to that fear.
Yeah, and I think also that would also be it would get like the other three, Josie, Anya, and Shepard, to go with the plan of going to the lighthouse, because once they wake up, they're not oriented. And the only direction that they have is south. Oriented thing, once they know south, like, especially since they wake up and they don't know where they are, like, Anya could be like, no, let's go north. That's the way we came from. And they're like, we're like 4 to 5 days inside. We could have gotten to the lighthouse if we just kept going that way. We don't have no idea where we are. South is the beach. And that's the reason why they go.
Yeah.
I'm going to be I feel bad, but I actually
Are you going to mention the book thing?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm sure the book, I think I remember hearing that the book does go over why they always go through that one area, and I don't know what the reason is, but my guess with this movie is that it's just self-destruction. You keep doing the same shit over and over again, knowing it's not good.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Like, this is the definition of insanity. They're doing the exact same damn thing over and over and over again. Ventress is a scientist. She's not stupid.
Yeah, but again, the whole theme of this movie is self-destruction. You keep doing the stupid shit. I've been there. You keep doing this stupid shit over and over again. Mm-hmm. You might even know it's not good. It's just gonna end up the same as last time, but you just go in.
Why are you talking about my study techniques like that, Hector? I'm feeling attacked now.
I'm talking about my anxiety, but
that's actually a really good point, Hector, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm. See, that's good. That's a good explanation. I wish that had kind of been mentioned in the movie, but I still like mine.
No, I like yours too. I like yours too.
Sometimes you have to figure
break
out.
it to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good that it isn't mentioned. It's good that it isn't mentioned because it causes discussion and ways to talk about it.
It causes the podcast to happen.
Yeah. No, I love your idea about the beach. It does make it more trippy. And also, it plays similar to my idea with the...
Yeah, I was thinking, and like I was saying earlier, I had thought about like the hazmat suits and having the oxygen. I just forgot to write that down.
Okay. But yeah.
And basically my last point would be just act with a little bit more self-preservation. You don't know what's going in here. What's going on in here. You know that people die in here. Maybe use the buddy system. There's 4 people.
They were pretty buddy-buddy with each other.
I know, but like...
In the lodge, they weren't, because Josie went off by herself, and no one thought to say, hey, Josie, maybe don't. And then the part with Lena going off by herself with Cassie, that kind of separate, like, friendship with Anya, gone. Friendship with Cassie's corpse, new best friend.
Yeah, fair.
That didn't make any sense. If anything, I would have preferred to see Anya go with Lena, find that Cassie's dead, and maybe Lena or Anya wasn't even there, and she's like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened? And Lena's like, it's a bear. It's very obviously a bear. And Anya's like, no, it couldn't. Like, did you do this? And then starting that suspicion.
Imagine the different way Anya would have reacted once she heard Cassie's voice.
Help me.
And just be like,
help me.
What the fuck?
Aha, goosebumps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just trying to mimic the bear thing.
Yeah,
but again, the whole self-preservation thing can be put to rest with the self-destruction theme.
Yeah.
I get that, but like they're I don't know. In my version, they're expecting to survive, but shenanigans.
I mean, I think all of them deep down knew there was a good chance they weren't going to come out.
Oh, of course. No, so, it's said from the beginning.
Self-destruction. Again, self-destruction. That's why I like it when movies have the theme.
Yeah, Anya's the only one who isn't like super self-destructive. Because I can understand Anya is the only one that isn't like super just like self-destructive, or
but when
I would imagine her to be the least most. Because the issue that she had was addiction. Meanwhile, Shepard lost a daughter to leukemia, and Josie seems to have some sort of depression of some sort.
She had
self-harmed. Like, yeah.
Tendencies.
Trying to feel something, feel alive is what Shepard said. And Ventress has cancer. She wasn't coming back. But yeah.
Her body was literally self-destructing. Annihilation. Yeah. Again,
Annihilation. The way she delivers that line, though.
Yeah. Because up until that point, I was like, why do they call this Annihilation? Because like they could have called this movie like Prism or something, and it would still like have that. It would have the meaning a little bit more. And then I saw that scene, like, got it.
Title drop.
Understood.
This is one of the best title drops I've ever heard.
Yeah. No, this movie has.
It doesn't even like deserve a ding. It's so good.
I mean, some title drops are good, except for it's some kind of hot tub time machine.
Some kind of what are we? Some kind of
hot tub time machine?
What are we? Some kind of Justice League Snyder cut? I'm joking. But yeah.
So we're ready to grade?
Yep.
I mean, I already gave mine like twice.
Yeah, we already gave ours, but just confirming.
All right,
I give this movie an
A plus.
A for me.
A.
Okay, a low A plus.
Don't conform to us. It can be your favorite movie.
No, because I don't know. No, it's an A plus, but like it's not. I don't want people to think like because
it's like a 98 A plus. It's like you're an A plus but inferior, right? Is that what you're feeling?
It's not inferior. It's just lower. Yeah. I still think one of the best movies I've ever seen is like Parasite, and I want to keep that one as being my A plus, like my holy grail of A pluses, because I need to rewatch that movie.
Parasite. Hey, well, that's it for Annihilation. Next time.
Watch us. We never talk about it again.
Next time, we will be reviewing and reshooting a movie that probably none of you have ever seen or heard of. A Cure for Wellness. Click. Click. Have a good rest of your week. And probably next week and the week after, because I don't know when this movie is going to be recorded. It's a 2.5 hour long movie, by the way.
Oh, fun.
Long one.
So this has been Hector Carlo, Ruthie Carlo, and Eduardo Soler.
Goodbye.
Today's film was Annihilation, directed by Alex Garland. The screenplay was written by Alex Garland, and the novel was written by Jeff Vandermeer. And the cinematographer was Rob Hardy. Go show some love to their various social media accounts. They made a movie and published a book, which is more than we can say here. Also, keep an ear out for the podcast Syndicate. We're friends on Twitter now. Our next episode will be A Cure for Wellness. See you then.